Going through the unmasking process can be difficult at times. Last night I was doing the dishes and all of a sudden I just got hit with this overwhelming sense of guilt, and it really knocked me. It knocked me for six. I'm David. I got diagnosed ADHD, ASD in August last year. Going through the unmasking process is interesting. I've been a health and wellness coach for a long time now, hypnotherapist, all the rest of the things for a long time, except you're still blind to the things that you don't know how to see. Last night when I was doing the dishes and I had that sense of guilt and shame and all these things wash over me, I turned around to my partner. I said, hey, this is really hard for me to be able to express. How many times do I snap on a daily basis? How many times do I be really blunt and arrogant and, careless with my words? And she says, a lot. I can't tell you exactly how many times, but a lot. And then I looked at her and I said, I'm so sorry. Even now thinking about it, I'm just feeling a huge amount of guilt. I don't know that I'm doing it. And then when people say that I'm reactive and angry and aggressive all the time, I can never picture what they're talking about. Yesterday, I was noticing some things that I was saying to my kids as we went on this bushwalk. And my daughters, they're 10 and 7. And they kept tripping over things. It's a bushwalk. You're going over rocks and tree roots and all the rest of the things. And I kept jumping on them every time they tripped over because I was dissociating. And I was dissociating in my head, and I didn't realize that I was in my head all day until I kept catching myself after I said something snarky or, snappy towards my kids or towards Rach. And I was like, the fuck is this? So I was, going through some introspection and I was doing the dishes, and all of a sudden it hit me that when I dissociate, I'm so stuck in my head that I'm not in my body. I'm not aware of the surroundings. I'm just 100 miles an hour go. I'm not present. I'm not with my kids. I'm not with my fiance. I'm not with my friends. I'm not with my family. I'm not with my clients. I'm stuck in my head. And that sucks. All my kids want from me is presence. All my fiance wants from me is presence. All anyone ever wants when they're with you is presence. And yet here I am stuck in my head and I can't get out. And I don't recognize that I'm being a jerk until it's too late, until I've said something that's come out of my face and I'm like, what was that? And so I sincerely, deeply apologized to all of them. And I just said, I don't know when I'm doing this. So can you please help me? Something I came up with on the spot was, if I'm ever, dissociated or not present or anything like that, can you just come and rest your hand on me and bring me back into my body? Bring me back into my body so I can acknowledge you and be present with you, because I promise you, I'm not doing this deliberately. I'm not deliberately being a jerk. I'm not deliberately, being snappy, being arrogant, yelling at you, all these sorts of things. This is I don't know whether it's a trauma response or it's something. It's something. I'm going through the unmasking process over the last 9 months, and it's confronting. And so they all said, yeah, Dad, of course. And I just said to all of them, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm still learning how to do this thing. I'm still learning how to uncover, the years of conditioning and the years of wearing a mask and persona and all the rest of the things. I need some support. Can you please bear with me as I, try to make sure that I'm doing the right thing by you all? It's really, really challenging. The sense of guilt and shame, embarrassment, resentment, and just overall hurt. It was such a disgusting feeling that I can only imagine how they feel when I spit venom at them. God, this is so confronting to deal with. One of my key messages that I say on my channel, say on YouTube, TikTok, all the rest of my socials is, until you make the unconscious conscious, you will call it fate and it will rule your life. I think that's how the saying goes. It's from Carl Jung. I think it's destiny. Anyway, I digress. I'm making unconscious contents come into the light of consciousness, and that shadow is dark. All darkness, all shadow is just the absence of light. So if there's things that you're doing, maybe you're autistic, maybe whatever, there's shadow behaviors that you're doing that you have no idea that you're doing. Maybe it's the way that you communicate, maybe it's the way that your body language comes across. Whatever it is, there's things outside of your awareness, and it's really important that you shine the light on to those things. And if you can't, because of your own confirmation biases, the fact that the shadow, the unconscious, likes to stay hidden away in the unconscious, ask a friend, ask someone that you can trust to be able to give you some feedback. And then the thing with feedback is either useful or it's unuseful. If it's useful and it causes things to come into the light of consciousness that you had no idea that you were doing, that you were potentially hurting other people, that's a really good thing. That's a beautiful thing for you to look at. However, you don't have to do it alone. Like I've got like 5 different mentors, coaches, and therapists that I can refer to at any one time to be able to book in a session, to be able to jump on the phone, to be able to have resources so I can be resourceful. You don't have to do it alone. And I strongly suggest that you don't. Like, especially if you're autistic, ADHD, any other neurodivergence, doing this alone is really confronting. I'm so lucky that I have all of the history that I have with, different coaching modalities, therapy modalities, breath work, all the rest of the things to be able to help myself through this process until I can sit down with someone, do a coaching session, do a therapy session, do a breathwork session, something like that, to be able to facilitate that transformation and transference of that energy out of my body. Sitting with guilt, shame, resentment, anger, sadness, grief, like all the negative emotions, all the lower emotions that make you feel stuck, that make you feel shit, you need to be able to transfer through them. You need to be able to transform through them and to be able to get on the other side where you recognize it come up and you experience it and it moves on. It doesn't stay stagnant in your nervous system because you have no idea how it's going to show its ugly head. It could snap and it could be to your loved ones. It could be at work. You never know. You never know. So it's really important that you're doing the work, like shadow work, breath work, meditation, hypnosis, like talk therapy, ecstatic dance, all the things. Not just going to the gym, not just going to jiu-jitsu, not just going for a run, not just talk therapy. Like there's multiple modalities out there and the body holds the score. You need somatic release. You need things that are going to be able to move that trapped energy out of your body through some form of practice, and then you can just let it go. Sound like Wim Hof then. Fully in, letting go. Anyway, I digress. I got some work to do, so much love. Follow me to rise higher.